Hi, and welcome to Main Street AI, the podcast where traditional businesses are quietly revolutionizing their operations with artificial intelligence and winning. In this podcast, I sit down with industry leaders from law firms and professional services, fitness and membership services entrepreneurs, and other Main Street businesses to explore their AI journey. We dive into the opportunities they see, the challenges they're navigating, and the real impact of AI on their industries. Whether you're AI curious or ready to implement, this show brings you insights from leaders who are actually using this technology to serve customers better, empower employees, and drive profitable growth. Attorney Luis Nieto survived the unthinkable. 4 years ago, a horse riding accident left him paralyzed from the neck down. Today, he's back leading a top Colombian law firm and sees every day, every client conversation, and every challenge as a gift. As a founding partner of Nieto Abogados in Bogota, Luis brings a unique perspective shaped by decades of experience. With a master's in law from UPenn, a stint at a major New York firm, and 25 years building a practice where 70% of clients are multinationals, he's watching AI transform legal services in real time. But Luis doesn't just observe, he categorizes. Drawing on a Harvard Business School framework, he breaks lawyers into 3 tiers. First is retail, which involves repetitive tasks where AI replaces 80 to 90% of the work. Next is gray hair, which is experience-based, where AI replaces 15 to 25% of the work. And next is the wise lawyer, which involves high-level problem solving where AI can't touch you. The question for every lawyer now becomes, which tier are you in? Let's dive into the full conversation.
Hi, it's Stephen Whittier again with Satori Coach IO, and today I'm joined by Luis Nieto of Nieto Abogados law firm. And Luis, thanks very much for joining us. If you could just give us, by way of a brief introduction, tell us a little bit about yourself and your firm.
Thank you, Stefan. We're very excited by this invitation, and we're happy to be with you. And I hope you have a great success in these podcasts.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Luis Nieto. I'm a Colombian lawyer. We're based in Bogota, Colombia. I have a degree from University of Los Andes in Colombia. I have an LLM Masters of Laws from University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, from UPenn. And I have a negotiation diploma from Harvard. And I worked for several years in a law firm in New York that was called because actually get bankrupt, called Dewey Ballantyne. Was one of the top law firms in New York. And then I came back to Colombia, and I have been partner for several firms, and it has been almost 25 years since we, with other partners, founded Nieto Abogados. We are focused in different legal practices. Just for your information, we do litigation and arbitration. We do M&A practice, mergers and acquisitions. We do corporate. We have a practice of wealth management and wealth planning, estate planning practice. And within the corporate department, we do competition, banking, capital markets, project finance, and a bunch of more, let's say, commercial and civil legal services. And let's say that around 60 or 70% of our clients are multinationals and companies all around the world, from the US, Europe, Asia, Latin America, some of them from China, India. So we are pretty much in a cross-border legal practice. I think half of the day of every day I speak either English or French with international clients, but we're based in Bogota, and we are around 20 lawyers in our firm.
Great. Very impressive. Carrying the conversation over to our kind of core topic here with AI, what sort of trends right now are you seeing that could be specific to your firm or also industry-wide?
Okay, this is a topic that is at this time is a very current topic. There are all kind of conversations, podcasts, seminars, articles about how the AI is impacting the legal service industry. And what law firms, and there are some AI tools that actually are being used by law firms worldwide, which are impacting the legal practice and the quality, the time and response, the efficiency of what lawyers do on a day-to-day basis. And I can give you some examples how to understand how AI is impacting our practice. Let's say that you have an M&A transaction. What means an M&A transaction? Means a due diligence of the target, means drafting, negotiating, and putting together a bunch of documents such as a purchase agreement and a share purchase agreement, or an asset purchase agreement, or LOI, in letter of intent, or a memorandum of understanding, or a non-compete agreement. So in that sense, what lawyers actually do in an M&A transaction is to get, let's say, in the due diligence chapter, to put a bunch of documents that actually are needed from the target in order to review the target by the lawyers and give an assessment of how the target is in terms of legal compliance. Right now, a due diligence is much easier based on AI. Why? Because you can insert into the system a bunch of documents and ask the tool to give you some responses. And if you give those questions pretty clear and crystal and detailed, you can get very, very good answers for a due diligence purposes. Or, for example, you need a first draft or mergers and for a SPA, a share purchase agreement. You need a first draft. So you don't have to think what are the total, let's say, type of sections you need in a customary M&A transaction. Mm-hmm. The system will give you a first draft of agreement where you can start working on. In the old days, that would take like a week.
Right.
Right now, it's things that less than 50 minutes. I mean, you can have a first draft of an SPA agreement or an APA agreement in less than 50 minutes. So the efficiency of having a first draft to work on and send it to your client or to the counterparty, it's a matter of a couple of days. Mm-hmm. So that what means it's a transaction can actually save very important time for both parties, and to have customary sections or clauses or terms and conditions that actually are not are very standard for all kind of M&A transaction worldwide. So in M&A is working. I mean, is already working, and the legal sector is using these tools for getting those efficiencies. Another example, in the corporate side, the clients need minutes for shareholders meetings or for boards, or you need a subscription rules for issuing shares, and that's the thing that are documents that you have done for years. Customarily, you don't have that document ready for the client's need. So these tools give you a subscription agreement in a second. Mm-hmm. So a subscription agreement, for example, is a matter of a couple of hours to have it ready. But you have to be focused. I mean, you can normally you start having a draft and then you send it to another lawyer, to someone of your team, or the associate send it to the partner, or the paralegal send it to the senior associates, and then the senior associate send it to a partner. Right now, the senior associate can do this in 15 minutes, and the partner can review the subscription agreement in 30 minutes.
Mhm.
So it's less expensive for the client, is very efficient, and therefore business are moving more in a greater speed.
Mhm.
Now, this is a thing that is important. We are seeing in the market that some clients do not like that their lawyers use AI. Basically for a couple of reasons. The most important one is confidentiality.
Mhm.
Today, clients are not totally confident that if the lawyers or the law firm use AI, its information is kept confidential. So it's a challenge. So it's something that you have to show or you have to ask your client if we can use these tools. The first response normally is, I'm not sure, I'm not confident about the confidentiality of the information. I don't want my agreement to be in the web somewhere that someone can see it.
Right.
And secondly is this is going to cost me or not. We are looking into engagement letters by law firms in different parts of the world that a new paragraph is included in the engagement letter, saying that or the company or the law firm is warning the lawyer, warning the client that the law firm use AI tools. And in addition, it may be more efficient in terms of the hourly rate, or the fees for the client, but actually is the client is being charged some reimbursable expense for AI.
Mhm.
Because there are right now tools, AI tools in the market that they are expensive, very expensive at this time. I'm sure in a couple of years, the let's say the fees or the cost of these AI tools will drop. I'm sure it will drop because we are entering to this era,
Yes.
and day by day we're sure that it's going to be more less expensive than they are right now. So to give you a general conclusion is we are being impacted. We are seeing that most of the law firms are doing things or getting market tools that are the tools that are in the market, or developing own AI tools,
Mhm.
which I think is very expensive. I mean, big law firms are doing that, the US and the UK, in Europe. In Colombia, there are some of them, for example, in intellectual property. But they have to invest a lot. They have to get people that actually are very, let's say, expert in the field, engineers, programmers, that are actually, that's something that from our side and from a law firm doesn't make sense. We prefer to outsource that.
Mhm.
Okay? So we are being impacted. Everybody's moving in that towards that direction, and that will impact definitely the cost of the service, the time of the service, and the, let's say, the overall competition among law firms.
Absolutely. So that's really good. You've very clearly delineated the advantages for the client as long as the client is willing, that you can actually pass the cost savings on to them. It's more efficient for everybody, can produce the work much quicker. There's the confidentiality concerns with the clients. What are any other apprehensions, fears, uncertainties that you're seeing? Maybe if not from the clients, or you've already talked about that, then maybe in your side of the field, what are the concerns from the attorney's perspective?
Yeah. I mean, the first concern, I believe, is the easy path of the work. I mean, why? Because the service that you have to deliver has to have quality, a clear and calm understanding of what we produce in most of the cases is paper. Paper with some words. So you have to make sure that those papers and those words are actually a good product. So the first challenge that we are facing is that nevertheless you're saving time, nevertheless you're being more efficient. You cannot in some way suffer that the quality drops. So I mean, it's fine to have a first draft of the merger of the SPA, for example, in the example that we were discussing some minutes ago. It's fine, great. But it's a 60-page contract or 80-page contract. You have to make sure that the quality starts in page 1 and ends in page 4, in page 40. So in that sense, AI is not replacing quality. That's the first concern. And if you go like they up to the structure of the law firm, right now the partners of the senior are not doing the AI search. You are in some way delegating that to lower people in the team, because is in some way a, and I don't want to mention that it's an operating task, but it's much easier to do that. You have to make the correct questions, get the correct product, work the product, and send it up for review. So quality is the first concern. Not because you can get that product easily and more efficiently, means that you have to respond on the same timing to the client. That's not the issue. The matter is to have that tool, get the product that actually the AI tool is given to you, review them, and at that point, there is no AI tool. It's your brain, is your experience, is your know-how that enters into the scene. And then you have to use the tool and do what we have done for years. Review the agreement, review the terms and conditions, review the protection of your client, review all the indemnities, everything, and then deliver. So our first concern is quality. Not because of the timing saving, you have to, in some way, sacrifice the quality. The second one is the second concern that is linked to the first one, but is important, is that AI cannot replace your education. If you are my lawyer or one of my teams, and I ask you a question, and you go to your desk or to your computer and ask the same question to the AI, and they give you the answer, and I go to with that answer to my boss and deliver the answer, it means that you are not a lawyer.
Yes.
You're a messenger.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking, I mean, that is a challenge, and we're looking to that with very detail, and we're observing what is happening, because that doesn't work that way. We don't want messengers. We need lawyers. We need people with experience, criteria, education, and let's say know-how in their brains to have that information, understand that information as a raw material,
Mm-hmm.
and convert that information as something that actually the lawyer that is delivering that information actually understands deeply. Okay?
Absolutely.
And we have examples. It's incredible. We have to understand which are the permits for these infrastructure projects under the environmental current regulation. Yeah, fine. In 20 minutes, you have the response in your email. Really? That's only? So you take the phone and call. And do you understand this? Yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, this is a preliminary opinion. No, I don't want a preliminary. I want a full opinion. You can have 2 or 3 hours of work and come back to me. So that's the second concern. I think it's the most important one.
Yes, absolutely. In other words, attorneys still have to attorney. Right.
Right.
So AI, the point is, like, we're not replacing all human functions, especially specialized ones. It is a powerful supplement, but we can't forget
Yeah,
what
correct.
is what it is, what our role is in the process.
That's correct. That's correct. And I can add a couple of things that are important. In a book that was written in Harvard Business School like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, they classified the lawyers as retail. Then there is gray hair lawyers, and then the first, I don't remember the name, but it's like, could be another day, but it's like wise lawyers.
Mm.
Okay, so retail is something that you have to do many times in a day. The same thing, like registering a trademark.
Mm-hmm.
The gray hair lawyers are the one that have done the same thing many times in the past. So you hire these lawyers or these law firms because they have done 30 mergers in the last 5 years. Or the doctor is exactly the same in medicine, because this doctor has made a heart surgery uh, 100 times. So he's great, has gray hair, and he
Mm-hmm.
knows what to do. And the wise one is the person to solve problems and to fix problems or to structure a deal. Okay? I believe the AI could be very important in retail, very, very important in retail, very, let's say, is going to replace in some way 80% of the work or 90% of the work. In the second level, that is the gray hair, the AI is going to be replacing uh, 15 or 20%, or let's say 25%.
Mm-hmm.
But in the wise level, there is no AI. There is no AI this time.
Yeah.
It would be impossible. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if impossible is the word. It would be very challenging to have an AI tool that actually held the wise law firm of the wise level legal service with an AI tool.
Yeah, that's a very good model. Very good way of thinking about it. Um, along with the efficiency, is there anything else that you would say right now on the plus side that you're excited about with the future of where the AI is heading?
Um, No, it's incredible. It's incredible. I'm surprised how some of these tools are so well written,
Hmm.
because that's another challenge in law, in legal service, to write well, well educated, with good English or good Spanish, good French or good German, but to write well.
Hmm.
It is incredible how the new tools are well written. It's like is in some of them, it's a top tier. Is the quality is, I mean, you read an article in the New York Times or in the Financial Times or in Le Monde in France, and it's people that actually has work years trying to write in a very AAA sense.
Hmm.
And I'm not surprised how the tools are being have improved the well written, because to write well takes time.
Yes.
To write badly, very easy.
Yes.
We write badly in our chats, in our emails every day, but to write exactly the house is red is very difficult.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, great. Those are some phenomenal observations there, and again, very detailed and clear. So really appreciate that. Um, Now I want to turn from AI conversation and just talk to you a little bit about your practice. Um, Obviously, from what you mentioned, you're doing very well, growing, multinational. Um, where would you say, in sort of the greater context of different size firms, where would you be located right now in terms of growth, and where is it that you're looking to get to?
Okay, it's a very open question, but I will try to narrow my response to the following. Uh, the legal market has been in Colombia, for example, in Colombia has been growing very fast in the last, let's say, 15 years. Um, International firms has been established in Colombia, buying another firms. So we have firms from Spain, from the US, mostly with a foot in Colombia.
Mhm.
I mean, with the same name, for example, the same name.
Yes.
Uh, and that is good because it's competition. This competition is that's, I think those players have introduced into the field, into the market, better practices, international standards, and they makes firms like ours, that is a medium-sized law firm for Colombian standards, a very good incentive to be better and to compete in much in better quality, and that's important. Um, our firm is in a, let's say, in a very good position right now. We are a top law firm in terms of corporate litigation and arbitration and merger and acquisition. We have been involved in the most important cases recently, disputes of takeovers. So you don't have to be very big to be big. That's that's uh, that's a good sentence. You don't have to be big too very big to be big, because what is important is your brain.
Hmm.
And obviously our core is big disputes, in, let's say, different complex transactions. You don't have to have a team, a big team to do this type of work. Obviously, the big firms are very good. I have a very good colleagues in firms of 100 lawyers. The biggest firm in Colombia, I think, is Brigar, and has around 140 lawyers.
Mm.
Okay, and there are, let's say, 5 or 7 law firms, around 80 lawyers and 120, and that's fine. I mean, they have this multi sector practice, and they have all bunch of practices, and they have a very good business model. Our model is, our core is different. Our core is to have very good clients. Our clients, the other day we have an internal study, and the first 25 clients of our firm has an average of being with us for 20 years.
Wow, that's impressive.
So that's that's a very precious asset.
Yes.
And we ask them why. And the first answer to that question is because we receive a first tier response, and you are always on the phone and on a senior level. So it's something that is important to us, and we want to keep that. If you grow in a very expansive way, if you expand yourself without protecting that asset,
Mm-hmm.
you have the risk to losing it.
Yes.
Okay. So we are very happy. I mean, obviously, we want to grow, in confidence, to grow in quality, to grow in better service to our clients. We are not very aware about the size of lawyers. Sometimes there are clients that need more things. We would like to give them everything we want, but sometimes we have to say no. We're not in a position to give you, and we don't have a fear for that.
Mm-hmm.
The answer no is very, let's say, powerful. Sometimes we are pretty clear what we can do and we cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
Colombia and, let's say, Latin America is facing different things as the world right now. We have different political issues, but the economy is growing, and Colombia has a very strategic position in the region, geopolitical, let's say, understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And we have elections next year. Trump right now is fighting with our president, or in different sense. Our president is fighting with Trump. Trump is not looking to what our president is doing, and he's saying. But we have Venezuela, that is our neighbor. So we have things that we have to take into consideration from a business perspective in the region. But Colombia is a great place to come and to invest.
Excellent. And you partially answered my next question too, where I always like to ask, what is it that you think you do extraordinarily well? And usually the follow-up qualifier for that is, what do you hear from your clients over and over again? So you already spoke to the fact that, they have that very high touch access to the senior partners. Is there anything else that you'd say there that you really feel you excel at?
Yeah, I mean, one of our key issues here, as a consultant, you have to understand very clear your client's objectives. I mean, that's very important. Sometimes you believe, and lawyers tend to believe that they understand the client. No, that's not true. Sometimes the clients ask A, and actually they don't know why. So one of our key things in our firm is to try to understand much better, in detail, deeply, ask why several times, the objective of the client. And that's one of our know-hows. Sometimes we forget, in the day-to-day, we forget to ask the questions. And sometimes a couple of questions a couple of questions more of your conversation with the client are key.
Yeah.
And that's something that we believe our clients trust us because we understand more clearly their objectives.
That's really good. Yeah. So that's the wise lawyer level, knowing how to dig down a few layers to get what it is. Because this is
Yeah.
true. This is true of clients in any industry, right? Where sometimes they ask questions because they're not quite sure what to ask. So they start somewhere. And if you just go on the surface layer, you're not necessarily going to get the
Exactly.
full meat of what they're looking for. So that's really good.
And there's something that we don't care about. We don't care about the first dollar.
Mhm.
That's not our interest. We care about the long-standing relationship. Uh, we don't care about the first project or the first contract. We think, I mean, that's something. The world is not going to end tomorrow, and for that reason, you have to understand the objectives, the long-term objectives, and to work towards. And the conversation after that, the conversation with the client is very easy.
Mhm.
It's like water.
Yes.
It's very easy.
Yeah. I appreciate that because I feel the same way. In terms of like more short-term goals, would you say you have defined anything for like the next 6 to 12 months that you'd be looking for in terms of specific outcomes for the firm?
Yeah, we are. I mean, as I mentioned, the international law firms coming into Colombia and establishing. Obviously, they are competitors. We are in a process of letting us know in different markets to have more international exposure. Nevertheless, as I mentioned, more than 60% of our clients are multinationals. It is clear that for Colombian size, there are some let's say some size of the work comes from other law firms
Mhm.
in different specific cities: Miami, Washington, New York, London, Paris, Madrid, Hong Kong. So we are working in the next 12 months. We have the idea is to have more exposures with our colleagues in those cities, and to go to law firms there and show and present our services, and to have a more international exposure.
Great. Are there any particular challenges that you foresee you might be encountering with that objective, or do you feel pretty confident about your ability to do that?
The challenges is the virtuality, because in the old days, you ask for a meeting and you have a face-to-face meeting, and you present yourself and you discuss different things and you offer your services, you ask questions. The challenge is that because right now, Zoom, Teams, all these virtual ways to meet, we are not totally sure that gets the result that you want,
Mm,
or the bonding that you want.
yes.
We have done that, and sometimes they say, "Oh, that's great. We're very interested in your firm. Let's have a virtual meeting in a couple of weeks." Yeah, and you're there and you explain yourself, and the challenge is that you trust what you're seeing there.
Mhm.
We get bonding, and it's difficult sometimes in a meeting like this to have bonding with the other people.
It is, yeah.
It is. So that's a challenge, but we see how it's going to work.
Great. And then just swing back on AI as we get to the end here. Has there been any particular challenge that you've encountered in terms of adopting AI as you're trying to move forward and grow within the firm?
Yeah, the challenge is I mean, I don't want to mention the names, but we have tried several ones.
Mhm.
And the challenge is to say, okay, we have a bunch of options. Let's try to focus on 2 or 3 and try them and work with them. They're not. They're expensive. I mean, they're expensive. So, but that's the investment we have to do. We have to do that investment and to see how it works. Yeah, I think the challenge is to see that actually the tool is working correctly in a it's a medium term. Medium term could be 6 to 12 months.
Great.
Okay.
And then my last question, this is what I always end on, is the personal why. So this is where I'm just asking, just for you, for Luis, like, what is your thing that you fall asleep with, getting up in the morning, driver for what it is that you do every day? I always like to just be back to the human.
Okay, this is a very important question for me because I am a miracle. I have a very severe accident like 4 years ago. I fell from a horse. I was paralyzed from the neck to my feet, and God saved me. I got recovered. I went to a hospital in the U.S. And I recovered myself. So I recovered my life. So my life, the purpose is to be very happy, to work for my country, to work for my workers, to work for my clients, and to get every day as a gift. So the purpose here is to help other people, and that's my day-to-day goal. So it's totally different than to being a lawyer. I mean, it doesn't have to. I mean, it's totally different. My experience has given me so many gifts of love, of care, of compassion, of recovery, of hope, that I'm blessed. I'm totally blessed, and to know you is a gift. To have this conversation is a gift. I can talk, I can move my hands, I can do a bunch of things that were totally impossible 4 years ago. So the why is to enjoy life totally.
That's an incredible answer and a perfect place to end. So, Luis, thank you so much for your in-depth conversation, your observations. This was fantastic. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Stefan. Good luck, and good luck to your audience, and hope to see you soon.
Great. Thanks so much.
Okay.